Hello everyone, I'm Richard. This video will explain the deployment methods and the precautions of wireless network in the environment of ADCampus. First, I will introduce the initial business configuration. In the ADCampus, the deployment of wireless AC can be divided into two types. One is to use an independent wireless AC attached to the spine. The other is to use the wireless control service card to plug directly into the spine or leaf device. There are differences in the implementation of the two AC deployment methods. Here, we will explain the common networking of independent AC controllers. First of all, I will introduce the process of wireless service forwarding in the ADCampus solution. By creating a wireless management security group on the director, Vexline 4093 is designated as the layer 2 network domain and configure the address of AC, which is used for AP to obtain IP address and communicate with AC. DHCP server assigns AC address to AP through option 43 when assigning IP address to AP. After AP obtains IP address and the AC address, AP establishes a cap web tunnel with AC through Vexline 4093 to complete the registration. The authentication point of the wireless service is on the AC. When creating the service layer 2 network domain, the director sends the mapping from the VLAN of the wireless service to the Vexline and configures it to the leaf downstream port. After the terminal connects to the wireless network, it authenticates on the AC through the cap web tunnel of the AP and initiates the authentication to EIA with AC as the NAS. After the authentication, the AC sends the authorization VLAN to the AP wireless airport which connecting to the terminal. That is the wireless VLAN of security group, and the subsequent packets of the terminal are forwarded in the authorized VLAN. The AP adopts the local forwarding mode, and the packets of the terminal carry the tag of the authorized VLAN on the AP, and directly forward to the access switch. When entering the leaf, it is free of authentication and directly mapped to Vexline for IP address acquisition and communication. After understanding the wireless service forwarding process, let's take a look at the wireless service. First, the wireless service configuration can be divided into the 4 steps. Next, the first step is AC initialization configuration and management. At present, the AC do not support automatic online, so manual initialization configuration and manual managers to the director are required. The initialization configuration is shown in the figure, including the address configuration of VLAN 4094 and VLAN 4093, which is used for director managing AC and establish cap web tunnel between AC and AP respectively. Step 2. Configure the LLDP, STP, SMP, letsconf, and other basic parameters configuration. The LLDP is used for determining the topology. The STP is used to prevent loops in the network. The SMP and the letsconf is used for director to manage the AC, and the user is used for remotely logging the devices. Step 3. Trunk VLAN for the interface for AC connecting to the spine, which is used for subsequent communication with other devices and the directors. Step 4. Generate the configuration file locally and download it to the AC, which is used to configure the uplink interface of AP automatically after the AP gets online, and the authorization ACL is also required for configure MAC portal authentication. And then configure the specified AP configuration file, and set the ad.txt as the download file for AP. It should be noted that some versions can directly configured in the group view. Some need to be configured in the AP mode view under the AP group. Step 5. Configure the time interval of secondary access authentication and dynamic blacklist, which are all take effect based on the AC when used for MAC port authentication, and it is used for kick the wireless terminal offline and quickly get online again to obtain IP address. Step 6. Management of AC. To manage the AC device, click the resource where and click the add device in the upper right corner and enter the IP address of the AC in the pop-up page. The following connection parameter configuration is consistent with the parameters in the AC initialization configuration. Second part, wireless management network configuration. Before performing this step, please confirm that all wired devices have been added to the directory and to the corresponding device group, and the leaf downlink interface is also added to the corresponding interface group. First of all, add the layer 2 network domain of Vexline 4093 in security group. The subnet and the mask are the same as the AC. Then configure optional parameters. Manually configure VLAN and Vexline to 4093. Turn on the ARP agent and configure IP address of AC, and then a security group is added. In the layer 2 network domain, the newly added layer 2 network domain is selected, and the DHCP is selected to create the address pool on the DHCP server to automatically apply for IP address from the DHCP server when the AP is online. In order to prevent AC address conflicts, click DHCP server under the DDI DHCP configuration and click the plus in WLAN subnet operation clone to add address exclusion range. The results can see at address pool of the DHCP server. Finally, the interface of spine that connects to AC leads to config service instance and bind the two-layer network domain of wireless management. The third part, wireless device group and the policy configuration. First, the DOS1X authentication used by the AC needs to be configured as EAP mode. AC need to be added to the device group, and the device group policy should be configured. There is the AC device group in the directory by default. Click Auto Import Device and Interface under the Service Common Group Device Group. The AC device that has been managed will be automatically identified and added to the AC device group. After that, click Service, Common Group, Device Group. Click the Group Policy of AC Device Group to add policies, including AAA, DOS1X, MAC authentication, and etc. You can select and configure policy according to actual list. And here, domain name, password, and server address should be filled in the parameters of global enabling AAA authentication. EAP should be selected in the parameters of DOS1X authentication. The address of primary and standby servers should be added in free ACL 3001 for release. ACL 3001 is the authorized ACL of MAC portal authentication. If MAC portal authentication is not used, this item do not need to be configured. In the current supporting version, if the access switch that has been managed supports the PoE function of the interface, it will automatically turn on the PoE function of the interface. When the PoE interface is inserted into the AP device, it is found that the interconnected device is an AP device through LLDP. At this time, the director will automatically issue the PVID of 4093 to the interface for the access switch connecting to the AP device and permits all VLANs. In addition, in the service access group, there is a last device configuration in the upper right corner. Select the next device configuration option under it. You can see the devices in the ADCampus network that are used as access points. The director automatically adds the last device to it. You can also configure them manually. And the fourth step, AP Manager's configuration. For AP Manager's configuration, there are 5 small steps. Step 1, AP Management. There are 2 ways to add AP device, automatic online and manual configuration. Here we use manual configuration. For example, click AP Templates Configuration under the Wireless Resources Batch Configuration to add AP-related information. The AP information always exists in the Fits AP list, and the status is offline right now. We can hear in the pod that marked red. After connecting the AP to the PoE switch, you can register successfully. Select AC under the wireless resource and click Synchronize. After synchronization, you can see the number of AP online in AC information. Here we check the status of the AP. Now the AP is online. The step 2, wireless radio configuration. Under the batch configuration of the resource, click the administrator status, set the administrator status to up, and then click Add to select the AP radio. After adding the AP radio, click OK. Step 3, WLAN service configuration. Under the batch configuration, service policy configuration, click Add Policy to add a DOS1X authentication WLAN service policy. Here we select WPA as security source and DOS1X as AKM mode. And under it, we add a WLAN service policy for MAC authentication. Select Long for security source and MAC for authentication mode. Step 4, bind the WLAN service to radio. Here we select the corresponding WLAN service in Service Policy configuration. Click Add, select the radio above, and finally click Bind Service Policy with the radio to open SSID. Below shows that the binding is successful. That indicates that the wireless function is on. At this time, the wireless terminal can see the wireless signals of DOS1X and the MAC. The step 5, configure the forwarding mode. Here we select local in the forwarding mode of under the global forwarding of WLAN service and click OK. It should be noted that this configuration needs to be configured after the WLAN service configuration. If the WLAN service is added after the configuration, the global forwarding mode needs to be configured again. Last part, MAC portal authentication configuration. In the above steps, wireless DOS1X and MAC authentication are enabled. For wireless terminal without DOS1 authentication client, users can enter username and password for MAC portal authentication by pushing URL. Before wireless MAC portal authentication configuration, you need to configure BYOD users and access users. Under the access group, service parameter configuration, system setting, user endpoint settings, enable mark portal function here, and the system will automatically create BYOD users and access groups. In addition, it is necessary to manually modify the WLAN service policy of MAC authentication on the AC and add the function of URL redirection. It should be noted that the service template needs to be closed manually, and it needs to be opened again after adding the URL redirection. Well, through the above configuration, after adding access user to the system, the wireless terminal can access the network resources through the corresponding wireless signal of DOS1X or MAC portal authentication. Let's go back to the main points. First, at present, wireless AC devices need to be manually managed to the controller. Second, wireless forwarding mode should be configured after WLAN service configuration. Last, MAC portal authentication requires login to the device to enable URL redirection. Okay, that's all. Thanks.